I have noticed a huge uptick in content where basically people just talk down about themselves. And personally, I think it is very toxic to consume for your brain. And this is why I think that. And first off, let me say, I don't think it's the fault of the viewer who chooses to watch these kind of videos. I think it's more so the algorithm's fault. I think YouTube pretty much promotes this sort of despair, sadness content willingly because it performs really well. And, the style of these videos, obviously it's not like a coordinated attempt, but the style of the videos and the thumbnails and the titles just are engineered for maximum sadness. You look at it and it's just like maximum bleakness. You see the sad thumbnail, you see the face, you see them look depressed, and the title's like, I forgot how to live, I don't know what life is, 10 years have gone by, blah blah blah. It's just a bunch of sad stuff. And obviously I'm not a horrible human being. I understand that people have problems and they sort of use this as an outlet to express their emotions and express their feelings, but it comes to a point where there's some people who take advantage of this sort of content style to benefit in terms of monetary gain, or just to make money pretty much. And I'm not going to call anyone out because that's just not what I do, but there's people who just benefit off doom and gloom content where they basically just make you feel like 24/7 that there's no hope, you're pretty much done for, just give up, bro, just wrap it up, hang the jersey, you're cooked. That's where I think that this kind of content is very toxic for your brain, because this relatable sadness loop that people try to play with your emotions, it can just become a loop of endless despair, and it's not really going to free you from the feelings of sadness, if you know what I mean. It comes to a point, maybe you feel seen in one video and you feel that sort of dopamine of like, oh my god, I can relate to this, and then you see another video and you keep watching people, I guess, going through their own situations, and you feel like, oh, there's just this constant authority or this constant feeling of like, I'm not alone. And it's helpful to a certain degree, but it can come to a point where it's toxic, right? It can come to a point where you sort of rely on these sad doom and gloom stories to make yourself feel better, and I just think it's not good for your brain. Reason being is, let's say you watch one of these videos where he says, or the person says, life is pretty much pointless, I don't have much going on, I've wasted my life, and things like that. You're going to sort of keep watching videos like this, and it'll trick your brain into thinking, this is sort of what life is, this is what you should accept because this person does it, this person does it. I've seen so many people like it on YouTube talking about the same thing. And the problem is you are a product of your environment, what you watch, what you consume, and your internal mind will start to flip and just sort of compensate for what it's been watching, right? You watch a bunch of content about this sadness, is it's just going to carry over into your mind, into your day, and into your own perspective. And that's where I argue it's very toxic. Now, the reason I really just made this video is because I wanted to argue about the mindset switch that happens, right? I think that the internal mind, in terms of how you think and perceive of yourself, is very important to the actions you make in your day-to-day life, right? If you're not happy with yourself and the decisions you make, you're not going to have a good internal narrator, I guess, that sort of talks about what's going on. It'll be more negative because you only watch negative videos. And it's poison for the mind in terms of that, because what if you're trying to come out of a tough situation and you can only just think about all these negative videos you've watched online where people are just pretty much dooming and glooming, and you're like, yeah, they're pretty much, it's over for them, so it's probably over for me, so I really don't even need to try. Right? And that's where it becomes dangerous, because at the end of the day, the only person that can take you out of the hole is yourself. And you need to be around people, around things, consuming content that sort of supports a positive mindset. And it sounds very cliche, it sounds stupid as hell, but I'm telling you, it works. It really does work when you think this way, when you think positively about yourself. It's because it allows you to just subconsciously take action that is positive for you overall, right? You're not going to feel like you're doing nothing or doing something for nothing. You're going to feel like you're actually putting purpose towards your actions. And yeah, again, I do see these videos as a huge drain on your energy. I don't think it's good to watch these videos constantly to feel some sort of dopamine hit, like, oh, I relate to this person and they're going through this struggle and I can relate to that. And it gets to a point where if you overconsume it, I think it affects your mindset very negatively, and it's something you shouldn't do. Right? Obviously, you can feel for the person, you can have emotion, you can say, sorry, I'm sorry you feel this way. But if it comes to a point where you start binging this content, think about what it does to your brain, right? Every single day, you're going to watch a video about someone who's struggling in their life. We all have our own struggles, obviously. But you keep watching these videos every single day. You end up subconsciously being like these people who just record a very low moment in their lives, a very vulnerable moment, and you just make it your whole day, your whole personality subconsciously because that's all you think about, that's all you watch. If you're not doing that and you're putting it towards better actions, going to the gym, eating healthy, making connections, things like that, it'll counteract. And I also sort of want to just say that the people that sort of take advantage of these situations for people who play on their emotional heartstrings and just continue to spam videos like all self-reflecting about how sad they are and how life is pointless, you can't own a home, you can't do this, you can't do that. I feel like it's just more so that they're just trying to benefit from the mass of people who are just feeling this way, and they're collecting that YouTube ad revenue and whatnot. And all respect to them, get your money up, but I feel like it's just not in good faith. I don't think it's morally correct because you're sort of just giving people this perspective of it's pretty much over, just give up, right? Because it's all they're going to consume from you. That's all your videos are. I've never seen a video from this person. I can't even say the person. I don't even think it's worth saying, but like I've never seen a video where he's talking positively about life, about mindset, about any of that. No, he's talking about how housing is expensive, you're not going to make it in life, it's hard to like own a home, I just want to be unemployed, blah blah blah. And it's like, these are couch thoughts, bro. Why are you posting these videos out for the people to see? And a lot of people start watching it, and it's going to affect them mentally, and it's like you don't even think about that, right? Because you just think about, okay, how do I keep posting videos like this and people keep watching, I keep making money. But anyways, I think I'm rambling too much about it, but that's sort of my opinion on these kind of videos. I think it's not good for you. I don't think it's worth consuming for your brain in terms of your mindset. But if you have any more ideas or comments, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And peace.